Year 4 and welcome to our third session of our writing block based on the book The Lights on Cotton Rock. Today we are going to gather some ideas to help us with our writing tomorrow, and we're going to go on a bit of a word hunt, and we're going to try and up-level our vocabulary using some thesaurus thinking, so trying to find more powerful words to help us describe plot point 1, which is the part when Heather goes into the forest. So as you can see, this is the first picture from the book, The Lights on Cotton Rock, and Heather is creeping into the woods. And our writing focus tomorrow is going to be focusing on what Heather can see, how Heather feels, and we're going to try and use some adverbials in our writing as well. So describing how something is happening, where something is happening, when something is happening, or why something is happening. And you will see that I've got 3 little pictures there to help us remember that we are focusing on what we can see, what we can feel, and those adverbials that can include some time adverbials. And the arrow on that little picture shows that adverbials can move around a sentence. They don't have to stay in one place. So we're going to start by recapping our lesson yesterday, where we were plotting Heather's feelings throughout the story. And I told you that at plot point 1, which is what we're going to be looking at today, that Heather was in a positive mindset, but she wasn't ecstatic. She wasn't up there at +10 on the happiness scale. I thought she was around about 3. So when we're gathering our vocabulary today, we need to think about making sure our vocabulary choices reflect the mood of the story at this point. So it's a fairly positive part of the story. It's not scary or creepy. It is a positive, exciting part of the story when she goes into the forest. So, if we think about what she can see, I've decided that I would like to focus in our description in on the moon, the trees and the stars. And a good writer will give us lots of different descriptions to help the reader have a really clear picture about what the moon looks like, what the trees are like and what the stars are like. I would like you as well to think about how Heather feels. So what words could you use to describe the feeling she may have as she's going into the forest? And we're also going to think about those adverbials. Can we gather some adverbial phrases or words that describes how she walks into the forest, where the moon is, where the stars are, how the trees are? So by the end of this lesson, we should have a real rich vocabulary vault or bank of words and phrases that we can use so that our writing tomorrow is really, really exciting and good, and we're not stuck for any ideas or word choices. So I'm going to ask you now to pause this video, and I would like you on a piece of paper, it can be a rough piece of paper, I would like you, and you can go and ask friends and family to help you, you might want to use an online thesaurus if you want to. I want you, can you give me some good descriptions about the moon, the trees and the stars? Can you give me some words or phrases to describe how Heather might feel as she's going off into the woods? And can you give me any adverbials, either the how she went, the where she went, the when she went, or the why? And I'll see you back here in a minute and we will see how you got on. Again, right, how have you got on? So I've had a quick think too about the words that I could use to describe the moon and the stars and the trees. I wonder if we could play like a little game. So every word that you get, perhaps you can, like, it's like a game of bingo. You can say, yes, got that one. But I just want you to say, just because you might not have my words, doesn't mean to say your words aren't any good. Quite often in class, you come up with brilliant vocabulary choices that I haven't even thought about. So these are just mine. I'm going to record mine on the flip chart, and I'm just going to use bullet point notes. And then I'm going to collect together your ideas and mine, and I'll type them up so that you have them ready for your lesson, your writing lesson tomorrow. So I thought about the moon, and I thought, yeah, the moon shines. I'll try to up-level that a little bit, so I'm going to have the soft glow of the moon. I quite like that. I thought the moon was quite glorious. And again, I sometimes make mistakes with my spellings, but what we don't want to do is not use a word choice just because we don't know how to spell it. So we can always check our spellings in the dictionary afterwards. I'm going to have a magnificent moon. I'm going to have a sleepy moon. I'm going to have a pearly white moon. And some of these ideas that I've got have come from reading other books in the past, and I'm sort of kind of taking them and magpieing their idea. It's on its own. So I'm going to have a solitary moon. Well, I didn't really need to write the word moon. What am I going to have? I'm going to have, let's see, I might have a pale. Beautiful. I might have an illuminating. I might have a lustrous. These illuminating means to shine, to give light, and lustrous is like a bright word. Okay, that's a word that I don't write very often, so when I check this tonight, I'll make sure that I have a good check of those spellings. Then have a look. If I've got sleepy, I might have drowsy. Drowsy moon. It might be gentle. Maybe calm. It may be a warm, creamy moon. Have I got that already? No. Let's have a look. I might use the word bright as well, because it was quite bright. How many of those did you get? Have you got any more? Let's move on to stars then. What vocabulary did you get for describing the stars? And I should have said with the moon, if there's ones that you particularly want, you liked, you can add those to your notes if you would like to. I did say I was doing bullet point notes, but I've kind of just splotted them all over the page. Either way, it doesn't really matter as long as we're getting these ideas. So twinkling for the stars. We often use the word twinkling, don't we? I'm thinking of glittering. So glittering, glinting. So these are all kind of sparkly words. I read somewhere about stars being described as sequins of silver. I like that. I liked that, so I'm going to take that one. Sparkling. And we could extend that description a little bit by saying, well, sparkling like what? We could use the simile, so sparkling like gems. Or diamonds. I could have, oh, I like silver, so we could have like silvery drops. Bursts of light. Normally, when you get going and you get one idea, it leads to some others. I'm thinking, what else could I be? They could be sharp and clear in the sky. They could be distant. Well, they are. We know from space, that our space learning, that the stars are way away. They might be described as dancing. They're twinkling, dancing. They could be, I'm going to take this like again, the simile, like fairy lights in the sky, or we could have like fireflies. There's a lots and lots. They could be radiant. Pause there, I was thinking, is it an I-A-N-T or I-E-N-T? It's radiant, but I might check that one in the dictionary later. So they could be speckles of light. Oops. So I've got a few similes in there as well. I wonder how many you've got. What were yours like? Look at the last one then, the trees. So we don't want any tall trees. Most trees are tall. So what could I use to up-level tall? I could have towering. I could have soaring. I could have, how are they arranged? They might be in rows. What kind of rows? Well, I'm thinking a bit like soldiers. So regimented. Rows of trees. They might be shadowy. They could be perfectly still. So sometimes a description can also be describing how they're behaving, so what the action is. So the trees are perfectly still. I could be, if they're tightly packed, I could use tightly packed. Another word for tightly packed is dense, so I could have those. I could have the fact that they were perhaps familiar. So Heather, she knew she was living by them, so she wasn't perhaps scared of them. Perhaps they're majestic. Perhaps they are, perhaps they're a bit mysterious. Let's have a think. What were they doing? Maybe they were guarding. What was inside the forest? You might have leafy, or you could describe what kind of trees they were. They looked like the fir trees, like the Christmas trees. So you might want to pause and add some more of your own words or some of my words to your list. So go to how Heather was feeling. So remember, again, this is a positive intent for the author, so we don't want scary. We want it to be quite positive, but not overwhelmingly positive. I think she was quite eager to get into the forest. Maybe she was keen. Those two words mean a similar kind of things. Maybe she was a little bit excited. Maybe she was being a little bit, and I've pinched this from Jane Considine's lesson, she was being a bit brazen. She was going out in the forest and she shouldn't be there. She was going without fear. Let's have a look. Perhaps she was longing to find out if there was something out there. She was, another word for longing is yearning. She was yearning to find something. Maybe she was, if she's brazen, maybe she's a bit confident. Maybe she was determined. Checking the spelling. Maybe she was anticipating something. So I've got those feelings there. So you can add some of mine to your lists, or I might be able to add some of yours to my list tomorrow. So the adverbials, the how, the when, the where and the why. So it could be in the distance. Now remember, these can go at the beginning, the middle or the end of a sentence. So I'm not going to use capital letters or commas at the moment. It could be all around. So where were they? Things, they were all around or in the distance, in the sky, midnight sky. How was something happening? Maybe quietly, calmly, carefully. Maybe she walked without hesitation. Maybe it was where something was, at the edge, of the forest. Let's have a look. So we've got all around, in the midnight sky, up above. So I've got a few, not many, I could go on forever. I've got a few adverbials saying where things were, how the things were done, so quietly and carefully. So I could put when in the middle of the night. So remember, these adverbials, they give extra information of how or what something is happening. Okay, so hopefully you've got some good words in your vocabulary bank today. I will type up mine and check the spelling. I think I've spelled sequins wrong, I think. So I will check my spelling. I will Add all of these to a word bank and then we're ready to use these in our writing tomorrow. Well done, great lesson, and good vocabulary choices year 4. I'll see you tomorrow.